Now you listen to me real good. I've told you once, I said it 1,000 times. You get out of those pagan, satanic, religious, Christian churches. Christians do not follow the commandments of the Bible. Christians do what they want to do. They make up their own laws, their own rules, and their own regulations. Come out of her, my people, and come out from among them. And it's real simple and easy to ascertain who are these people you need to come out from. Easy. Number one, if they keep Sunday, that's an automatic sign that you need to not have any fellowship with these commandment-breaking, wicked deceivers and seducers and bewitchers of the truth. Simple. Oh, hallelujah. Y'all all right? We're going to get started. All right. Submission. Submission. You know that word we hate. Isn't that right, sisters? Come on, women. Isn't that right, sisters? I know it says let everybody keep silent in the church, but don't get funny with me. You are the assembly of y'all, and it still ain't shut you up yet, has it? Y'all all right? All right. Submission. Submission. Good word of the hour. Y'all hear that, brothers? Submission. For honor. For honor's sake. For glory's sake. War. I always say, man, why you always want to fight, Pastor? Brother Shane. Ephesians 6:12. Don't the emissary says that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal as ye suppose, but they're mighty through y'all to the pulling down of strongholds? Doesn't it say that y'all is a man of what? Warrior love war. Ephesians 6:12. Read on, brother Shane.
For we wrestle not
Against what?
flesh and blood,
But a what?
but against principalities.
See, I already know that my conflict is not with any man, but there's a spirit, there's an entity that is in these people. And what most people want to do is want to make you evil because they're evil. That's what most people want to do. Because it's easy to sway the minds of the uninformed. You still tracking me, Chance? Not making sense. Read on.
Against powers. Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
And you know the rulers of the darkness of this world are all religious? They're not trying to get the world, they got the world. Satan got religious folks in his crosshairs. He already got the whole world. He turns all his energy, time, and effort towards the people who want to name the name of the Messiah. You ain't figured it out yet. Read on.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
We got a war to fight. Y'all get that? The word submission conveys weakness to some people in this generation. Even when we hear it, it makes us cringe. It's like something, it's like an automatic response. Making you, so you're going to submit what? Amazing, isn't it? Our conditioned minds tells us when we submit ourselves to another, it conveys they are superior to me. And then the reason why we don't want to submit, because we're saying in our own minds, defining our own words based on what we want to believe rather than what the truth is. And since we believe that it's making people superior, we don't want to submit because that's our own definition. The question of the hour is does title or position make one greater than you?
That's a good question, isn't it? Because last time I checked, title and position only gives you more responsibility, more accountability, greater judgment. Being a true Israelite is all about self-sacrifice. Our Hebrew culture, submission, hapatusos, to subordinate, Greek term 5293, reflective, to obey, be under obedience, look at this, put under, subdue unto, be made subject unto, be put in subjection to, under, submit, self unto. According to the scripture, submission defines a relationship the way Yah intended for it to be. There is an order in Yahweh's kingdom. He has a very disciplined and structured kingdom. Submission is yielding to headship. When you bring up the words subject, submit, and obey, if there is a negative reaction, that reaction is there because of the lack of trust. You're going to often see used interchangeably. You wouldn't know it was interchangeably or not when you read Barik Radashah, but when you read it, you'll see submit and subject. When you look at the Greek word, they're both the same word. So you bring up the word subject, submit, and obey. Anybody want to be delivered today? The Bible says, humble yourself under the mighty hand of the Most High Yah. Is that right? If there is a negative reaction, that reaction is there because of a lack of trust. I told us once, I said it 1,000 times. When you feel something, you make everybody what you feel. And you judge unjustly. You wouldn't believe how much you have really, truly, probably prevented yourself from, all because of the way that you refuse to change your mind. The way you think and your refusal to change, to meet His word. Lack of trust. Just because you have problems trusting does not imply or mean there is something wrong with whoever is your leader. The problem is you. Your heart does not trust Yah first and His order and His ordained order, because Yah is the one who set this thing up. Yah is the one who set this thing up. Examples of submission. This word submission is not only for wives to husbands, but here are more examples. Romans 13:1 from the scriptures. Let every being be in subjection to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from Elohim, and the authorities that exist are appointed by Elohim. So he who opposes the authority withstands the what? The institution of who? So anytime you oppose any Yahweh authority, you are opposing the very institution that Yah set up. See, you look at that person in front of you and you think that the issue between you and them, but you're already out of step and out of order with the one who ordained this order. Y'all get this? And those who withstand shall bring judgment on who? Themselves, for those ruling are an object of fear, not to good works, but to evil. Do you wish to be not afraid of the authority? Do you? Because you remember, Miriam, even though she had a position of prophetess, Haran, even though he had a position of the high priest, you go over to Bamekba, the 12th chapter, somehow, some way, they lost the fear of Moshe's calling. Moses didn't call himself. And when they made a judgment on Moshe, the Most High didn't call not only those, but he called Moses up to the door of the tabernacle as well. When they got there, then he said, you two come up. You know the reason why? Because he's showing the authority, his judgment, and how it's going to be whenever someone opposes what Yah has set up. And Moses also an intermediary, an intercessor. Because when he seen Miriam get smitten with that leprosy, who was the first one out begging Yah? And that's something, the very one who they were judging. The very one who they were judging. Do good, and you shall have praise from it. For he is the servant of Elohim to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid. For it does not bear the sword in vain. For it is a servant of Elohim, a revenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. See, today if you try to execute judgment on people, people don't even want to take righteous judgment. They rather kick the traces and go back to the goys. That's how fragmented we are as a people. Who are these higher powers? Well, according to the definition of the Greek word, they are ministers. Greek 1249, diakonos. The higher powers are ministers, diakonos. It's not talking about civil authorities. Though, I'm sorry, but the police department is not ordained by Yah. America is not ordained by Yah. The only government Yah cares about is his. Why do you think he coming into this world to get you out of these governments? Diakonos is a minister, servant, deacon, one who executes the commands of another, especially of a master. A servant, attendant, minister, the servant of a king. See, if you had any influence in Christianity, they'd tell you that the higher power is the police. Now, why in the world would Paul be representing the kingdom of Yah and then tell you to be subject to the government of the world? First, civil police are not ministers, servants of Elohim. Yaakov 4:7. So then, subject yourselves to Elohim, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Kefla Aleph 3:1. In the same way, wives, be what? Subject to your own husbands. Watch this, wives. So that if any are disobedient to the what? Word. So if you're a wife and your husband is disobedient to the word, they without a word, they without you preaching to them, they without you trying to drag them to assembly, they without you trying to judge them with the word, they with you keeping your mouth shut and living it, might be warned by the behavior of their I've talked to many wives who are concerned about their husbands, at least they act like it. Found out they weren't concerned at all because they weren't willing to change their mind. They wanted a man that they could control. Submission is a choice. Submission is the what? You choose to submit. Resistance is also a choice. If you resist, you're choosing to. So whether you submit or resist, you're still making a decision. Leaders also have to make a choice to determine if they want you under their authority. Look at the history of Elohim. Look at Yah. When he got tired of putting up with these people, what did he do? Give them over to their devices. Just because you're an Israelite does not mean we have to tolerate your rebellion, resistance, or discord. Koreth Aleph 11:3. And I wish you to know that the head of every man is who? So every man on this earth has a head. And the head is who? And the head of woman is who? That don't mean you the head of every woman living, man. And the head of Messiah is who? Elohim. Kepler Aleph 3:3. Your adornment should not be outwardly arranging the hair like this world do, wearing a gold, putting on dresses, in his day, skinny pants. But the hid man of the heart, with the incorruptible ornament of a what kind of what? Meek and peaceable spirit, which is of great value before who? For in this way, in former times, the set apart women who trusted in Elohim, what kind of women were these? The one who what? In Elohim also adorned themselves, being subject to their You hear that? As Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him boy. What I mean, American women can actually really, truly call their husband master. Wouldn't it be something you be out in the public and you address your husband? He says something to you, yes, master. I'm not saying it's a requirement. I'm just showing you because there ain't too many Sarahs. Because he's your master. You know how careful you talk to a master? You know what kind of reverence you have for a master? Of whom you become children, doing good and not frightened by any what? Sarah was not weak. Submission in this Goy society is often confused with being weak. I recently said to someone, do not confuse meekness for weakness. None of us submit to the authority that Yah has set up because they deserve it by some merit. We submit because we know it pleases our Messiah and out of true love. That comes when you really, truly understand. You get it? Renee, come here for a second, Renee. All right, walk back into that door, Renee. And bring Dowell up here. Hurry up. Just watch her. All right, come on, Renee. You can look. You can see her this evening. Come on. All right, give her to her daddy. All right, come over here by me, Renee. All right, go over and sit on that speaker real quick. See that speaker? Sit on that speaker for a second. That's long enough. Get up over here. You see what's happening? When she first came, she wouldn't have done none of that. Am I telling the truth? Mm-hmm. Am I right, Dad? She wouldn't have done none of that. I don't know these people. She was grunting too. I don't know these people. She's been around us for a while. And she's developed a relationship with the Father himself. Ate with us, slept with us here on the land, staying with us. She knows that we're not a threat. With that, she could trust anything that I tell her to do because she knows I'm not going to tell her to do something that will bring her in any harm or put her in any harm's way. Right now, she's not afraid, be it here or out there. If we were out there, if I tell her to do something, she's not afraid because I'm a pastor. Can I tell them the truth? She ain't afraid. Ain't scared at all. She can ask me to do something, and I would do it too. Because I know that she wouldn't ask me to do anything that would challenge me to sin or to cause me to do something to harm myself. Don't the Bible say be subject one to another? See, this submission thing don't work just one way. But she is grown now, so now she knows she has nothing to fear. Is that right? See? I would not have dared unless I was after the Spirit. Done that the first day she came here. Boy, you would have seen the Spirit on her face then. It'd have been something, wouldn't it? She probably said, I ain't never going back to that place again. Who he think he is? I'm telling me what to do. I'm an American woman. I'm from Kentucky, damn it. All right, thank you very much. You go ahead and get Dowell. Don't forget Dowell, you know. You're going to leave her hanging? She want mama. See, that's out of true love. It is by divine right Yahweh has ordained authority. Bereshit 3:16, and to the woman he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain. And your desire is for your husband, and he does rule over you. What is your desire, woman? Your desire is to who? Husband. And he is what? Rule over you. But America has done flipped this thing around and made the man have his desire to the woman. When you have an out of order situation, you have the devil in the house. Can I ask y'all a question? Make a statement. Yahweh's our Father, right? He got many hats. He's also our King. Is that right? He's also our husbandman. Is that true? Is that right? Also our friend. He wears a lot of hats, right? If we saw him, we wouldn't have any trouble obeying him. Is that true? Because just his very presence is going to bring fear anyway. Terror. But he doesn't want you to know him that way. He wants you to know him for Yah is love. And there is no fear in love. So if you are perfect, you wouldn't have to worry about fear. If you get yourself together, if you get yourself right, instead of blame shifting and putting the finger on everybody else. Because fear is torment. And perfect love casts out all fear. Y'all hearing this? Yes, sir. Ever since the garden, a woman has not stopped in her quest to trump and rule over man. She uses deception, manipulation, nagging, withholding information from her head to control the environment. If she cannot rule, she will do whatever it takes in her power to control the minds of others under her rule. And who is under the rule of the woman? Children. Y'all hearing this? Because children are the man's inheritance, not the woman's. I said children are the man's inheritance, not the woman's. Anytime you experience sorrow in your home, It is because the woman is still trying to use tactics to control and rule the house. It's a breeding ground for demonic spirits. Didn't I tell you a few days ago, Brother Brent, I'm probably going to preach on this? Yes, sir. The problem today is trust. Do you trust the order you are under? Now, who set that order? So trust goes all the way up then. Because the one thing about Yah is that anybody who he has under him, he's going to judge. Rule, the Greek word hegemony. Now, I'm doing the best I can with this Greek stuff, all right? Means to count, esteem, have rule over, to govern, to lead, to go before, to be a leader, rule, command, to have authority over, prince, a regal power, governor, viceroy, chief, leading as respects to influence, controlling, and counsel. Think overseers or leaders as assemblies. Use of any kind of leader, chief, commander, leader in speech, chief, spokesman, to consider, deem, account of the thing. Hebrews 13:7 from the King James says, remember them which have the what? Rule over you. Who have spoken unto you the word of, watch this though. Who's what? Their what? Faith without works is. So their faith follows their action. Their manner of life follows. Always consider the end of their what? Meaning not only their conversation or their speech, but their manner of life. Keep that in mind. Hebrews 13:17 says, obey them that have the what? Rule over you. And mind you, and do what? Submit yourself. Remember, submission is an active choice. For they watch for your what? As they that must give an account, that they may do it with what kind of what? And not with what? Because they do it with grief, is unprofitable for who? One who labors. 1 Corinthians 16:13 says, watch ye stand fast in the faith, quit you like men and be strong. Let all your things be done with charity. I beseech you, brethren, that you know the house of Stephanus, that it is the first fruit of Achaia, and that they have who? The house of who? Have did what? The house of who? Stephanus have addicted themselves to there are some people that are just sold out. Totally sold out. Their whole house is sold out. Just to the ministry of the saints. They don't look for nothing in return. They ask for nothing. I say they don't look for nothing in return. They ask for nothing. They just totally sold out. We ain't got too many people like that. We got a few, but we ain't got many. We got less than this out of the whole entire ministry straightway. They have addicted themselves to the ministry of the. That ye submit yourselves to such. See, now the instruction is, remember, I said these people don't ask for nothing, but they addict themselves. But then the instruction of Saul, Rav Shaul to them is what? That you submit yourselves to such. And to everyone that helpeth with us and laboreth. Them people that are submitting, Rav Shaul is telling the whole entire assembly to submit to them. And yet we're scared to addict ourselves to the ministry. Man, I tell you, we just don't get it, do we? Here's the authority, the emissary, Rav Shaul, telling us clearly that these people have addicted themselves to the ministry. Everybody knows it. And then he's commanded the whole entire assembly to make sure you submit to them. Whatever they want, whatever they need, make sure they got. I tell you, God's way is totally different in this world, isn't it? I am glad at the coming of Stephanus and Fortunus and Archaeus, for that which was lacking on your part, they have did what? Because they addicted themselves to the ministry. For they have refreshed my spirit and yours. Therefore acknowledge ye them that are such. Not only submit yourself, but you acknowledge them. Paul is commanding the whole entire assembly to support them in whatever endeavor that they have. See, we're so full of this goy mentality that if we see somebody like that, the first thing we got to deal with is envy. We have the unmitigated gall, the audacity to get upset at someone who's meeting y'all's conditions because we can't do it. And not only that, we will even withhold good from them, even though it's commanded that we help them. See the challenges and the spirits that we have to deal with on a daily basis, how ridiculous it is? Huh? Wives. Hapatusos, which is the Greek word for submission, to arrange under, to subordinate, to subject, put in subjection, to subject oneself, obey, to submit to one's control, to yield to one's admonition or advice, to obey, be subject. Ephesians 5:21, submit yourselves one to another in the fear of Yah. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Messiah. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the assembly, and he is the Savior of the body. So who's the head? Christ is. Christ is the head of man. Husband is the head of wife. Wife is the head of children. Therefore, as the assembly is subject unto who? So let the wives be subject to their own husbands in what? Not something, but, and if you can't do that, it's a trust issue, not with the husband, it's a trust issue with you. Because who ordained order? What submission is? Submission is yielding and not resisting. Yielding to headship. Resist is to set oneself against. So if you're commanded to submit and you turn around and you set yourself against this person, you're resisting. You're resisting the authority that Yah's already ordained. Yah sees you. The husband is in charge of the home. He is the head. Being in the place or position of the head does not mean that one is better than you. It's a position of headship. Yahweh can only gauge how much we love him by our obedience to him. Wives, your husbands knows how much you love him based on your obedience. Rivalry, competition for the same objective or for superiority in the same field. What is that? Everybody know what that is, right? Y'all know what that is, right? Nehemiah, you know what that is? Allow by law to another the right of way. So this is a sign that is allowed by natural man's law, the right of way. Is that right? If you don't yield, look what can happen. There's a truck underneath a tanker, a car underneath a tanker, a SUV. That's because somebody, in other words, you can choose to disobey the law. But that law is there for a reason. It's not there to be a detriment to you or to hurt you. Just because you're commanded to yield does not mean that the driver across the street is better than you are. Just because that yield sign tells you to yield does not mean that that driver across the street is superior to you. Just because that sign says yield does not mean that that person across the street is inferior to you or you to him. It has to do with authority, headship, order, obedience. The yield sign is there so that everybody can be safe. When we go up to a four-way stop, the law of the land says, according to the Department of Vehicle Transportation, teaches us that the person on the right has the what? Right of way. Even if you're close in time, you don't get there and do a Cadillac roll and then punch on the gas. Or you look at a person, well, I was here first and then take off. That should tell you something about yourself too. You got problems. You probably need to get a road rage demon cast out of you. That's pretty bad. You can have personal issues that speak into your mind and convince you that they are not better than me. They are not more intelligent than I am. Someone has figured out it's best to put a yield sign in this area rather than a stop sign. You can defy that sign, and you may get by with it many times. How many times we have defied order and got by with it, at least what we thought? Many times. Every single time. What you don't see is every time you are disobedient, your heart gets that much more harder. That's what you don't see. Because your mind, uninformed, unintelligent, teaches you, I just got away with that. Nothing happened. You get to the point you become hard-hearted. Soon, you're not going to receive nothing from nobody. Because all this time, you have deceived yourself into thinking that there's not a law of cause and effect. I mean, after all, nothing happened all this time if you thought nothing happened. The human spirit is remarkable. The unregenerated man, especially the way he will go. Till the point you have all but convinced yourself because of constant disobedience, you do not have to obey that sign. Then you end up like this. See, all these times you got away, but this time you didn't get away. You wouldn't believe what happens when you become disobedient, when you disobey in the first point. Next time, the more you do it, the more passive you become. And as you become passive, you become very lethargic. And you are getting progressively worse while you're existing. And not only does it affect you in that one area, it starts to affect you in other areas of your life where you start becoming disobedient and taking shortcuts. Now you're developing a character. You're developing a nature. Are y'all listening to me? Yeah, I know I'm talking about deliverance. Yes, I am. Spiritual warfare. But this is what happens. Submission means to be under someone else's mission. Submission. All of you are here because you're under my mission. My mission is to get us to the kingdom. That's a mission. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people do what? But he that keepeth the law, happy is. Example. My mission, I understood from reading the Bible. I went over that earlier today. You get it? Jesus' mission. Matthew 19:27, then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and have followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Jesus said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which shall follow me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, ye shall sit upon the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, right there at that point, he's talking to the 12 apostles. He ain't talking to you and I. Let's get it right. You ain't sitting on no throne. Y'all got it? They ain't number 24. I mean, you ain't got one. Probably to be in the same way with, that is, a company specified a disciple to follow the reach. To follow one who precedes him as an attendant accompanied him. To join as a disciple, to become a disciple, side with his party. When you submit to any authority, you are the one that must make the decision if this is right for me. Once you place yourself under submission, under somebody else's mission, to obey, to another obey in the position. Once you place yourself under submission to another, obey in your position. And everyone that have forsaken houses, brothers, sisters, or fathers, or mothers, or wives, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit what? Everlasting life. You look at us at Straitway. We proved that this is still binding today. We left, sold everything. Everybody live on this land has left and sold everything. If they had lint in their pockets, they gave that away. Not only do we have here, we have 2 communities, Straitway, Georgia. We got 2 in Kentucky, 1 coming up developed, another one in South Carolina. You see that? Home fellowships in Houston and in Dallas, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Y'all hearing all this? Kansas City, Ohio. We can go on and on and on. I got plenty of places to lay my head. When I went up there and officiated a service, Brother Steve and Sister Esther. Y'all seeing how we become more concrete, right? Because I did not marry them. Y'all hearing this, Israel? Marriage don't take place when you say it. Well, the world, this is the way they do it. We don't do it that way. Matter of fact, I can't even ever think about marrying anyone that way. I didn't marry you in Tomoko that way either, did I? It's been so long ago we can't remember. I know I did. I don't remember. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today by the power invested in me by the state of Tennessee. What? Matter of fact, I know I didn't because y'all ain't got no license. See, even way back then. Way back then. How old is Israel now? 13. So, man, he getting old. They've been married 14, 15 years. Way back then, we were still doing our thing. Look at them looking. But anyway, we proved this. Brother, man, I went to Brother Felix's house, man. He housed me, Sister Carol, Elder Rufus, and Sister Jennifer. And we ate good. Boy, Brother Felix, I may need to stop by your house, brother. Whoa! These Israelites, boy, when you go to their place, man, they feed you. I mean good food, too. Just a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. It's a whole lot better sleeping there than sleeping at the Motel 6. Look at him. But see, you ain't going to notice unless you're living it. Isn't that right? But many that are first shall be last, last shall be first. Now, Mark's account of what he heard from Jesus says, then Peter began to say, Lo, we have left all and followed thee. But Jesus answered and said, Verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left houses, brothers, sisters, mothers, or fathers, or wives, or children, or lands, for my sake and the gospel's, but shall receive 100-fold when? Somebody say now. Somebody say now. Now, how many of you camps out there have received this now? Come on. Come on. See, this is how you test people. If you live in it, the proof is in the pudding. I know the world got you so conditioned. They just want your house. They just want your money. Those people have come to me and said, should I sell my house? I go, no. I know that your heart ain't in it. I'm just a whole lot smarter than you are. Because somebody's going to sell their house, they ain't going to ask you. They just going to do it. Oh, never mind. Anyway. But many that are first shall be last, and the last first. See, I have all of the time, I have people all the time who presume that they are my judges. Now, at this time, in the ministry, I don't want nobody selling their houses yet. Because we may need to run to your house and take over your basement. The way things are going, they have not, anyway, let me go back to this. I have people all the time who presume that they are my judges. You see it all the time. They have not sacrificed a thing to follow Christ. They have lived nothing to follow Christ. They have done nothing to show fruit of their lives as a follower of Christ. But they fancy themselves as my judges. Acts 2:42, we had Brother Shane read this early, and they continued steadfast in the apostles' doctrine, fellowship, breaking the bread, and in prayers, and fear came upon every soul as many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. Now, if the wonders and signs were done by the apostles, and we've been following their doctrine, as it was taught to them by Christ, should not the same wonders and signs be following us too? At least in some form. And all they believed were 20 miles apart, 50 miles apart, 100 miles apart, 2 states apart, 3 countries apart. So now who the cult? Now who the cult? All you wise fools out there. You know what people going to do? Trade this life for the kingdom. And had all things common, and they sold their possessions to good and parted them to all men as every man that needed. Didn't Moses, Yeshua, Peter, Paul have a mission? Yes, they did. Did Abraham have a mission? Yes, he did. Dominion. Each one of them had that mission. Subjugate, to have dominion, dominate, prevail against, reign, and rule. To tread down, that is to subjugate, to have dominion, to prevail against, reign, and take rule. Genesis 3:16, and the woman said, I will greatly multiply unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and conception, and in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, not your desire to her, but her desire to you. And he shall do what? That's divine fiat. In the Hebrew sense, it's stretching out, longing, desire, or craving. Here in America, they have this society turned all upside down. They have reversed the roles that Yah has ordained. In a Goy society, they cater to the woman in everything. You won't get on your knees for prayer, but you'll get on your knees for a woman. Oh, you Venus. Bedroom blackmail. Oh, please, get away from me. Oh, please, get away from me. That's what you American women like. It's sad, isn't it? Ecclesiastes 7:26 says, thou wife, after thy mind forsake her not, but give not thyself over to a light woman. Ecclesiastes 25:13, give me any plague, but the plague of the heart of any wickedness, but the wickedness, any wickedness is but the wickedness of a woman. Even Christ was subject in his life at certain times. Luke 2:51, and he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto them. Both his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. My question is this: was Yeshua inferior to yourself? Was he? How about Miriam? No, he wasn't, but yet he's subject himself because of positional authority. Earthly father, earthly mother. Yeah, let's go back. It said that he did. That's what it said. He subject himself. Submission has nothing to do with superiority or ability. Submission has to do with a mission. Do you remember when you were a child? You were under the dominion of your father and mother. You remember that? What worries did you have? Thank you, Brother Rich, for being honest. What work did you do? Nothing. Did you have to provide? No. Woman, what do you have to worry about if you're with a Yah-fearing man? Damn, it's quiet in here. You supposed to say something. Look at them looking. These are rebellious women, ain't they? All I need to do is drop y'all off in Africa for about 3 months and see if y'all still alive. Y'all got too many modern day push button conveniences at y'all hands. What a wonderful position you have, sisters, especially if you're in this ministry. You don't know how blessed you are. I can tell you the truth. If you are a woman and you cannot submit to my mission in this ministry, you won't be with me long. The leader delegates. It's amazing how Christ submitted to divinely appointed authority, and we are so rebellious today. Bottom line, submission is your heart's attitude towards authority. Because it's all ordained by Yah. The covenant example. Listen, man, if you claim to be in covenant with me and you cannot submit, why do you think you have problems in your home? Because there's a spirit, even though your wife won't submit, that ministers to the weaker vessel. And they go, oh man, he act like he ain't really submit. I hear, man, and they want me to submit to him. And then she's challenged in her weak state to rebel because she sees you. Y'all hear that, man? Yahweh has made a covenant with us. All we simply have done was agree to that covenant. That's all we've done. What happens if we agree to our covenant with Yahweh and then we resist? Y'all remember our ancient people? Can we improve on Yah's covenant? You can't improve. It's already perfect. It's already divine. It's already perfect and divine. Yah's covenant is. See, I gave you all the time in the world to prepare the food. Make sure you wouldn't miss a thing. Let us stay in Israel. Glory to the King. Y'all all right? That's a good message today, huh? Good word, huh? Hope it feds the soul. Bring us some maturity. Hope it brings us to some maturity. Hope these messages are not in vain. Hallelujah. Yeah, it's good. Father, we thank you for all things. We pray this saying sing deep down in our hearts. Thank you for your truth, your word, and all the sacrifices that you have made for us by giving us your holy men to show us, to lead us, and guide us in the way, and the Ruach for actually keeping us on the path. We thank you for it. All things. We thank you for the blood of Yeshua, the magnificent name, the name it above every name. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom. King coming. Uh-oh, look at him looking.